Good morning. I'm Tricia Hart, the developmental minister of this First Unitarian Universalist Society of Burlington, and I am glad and grateful to be here with you this morning as we worship. Not in the normal way, not in the normal way at all, but we're together nonetheless. I'd like to welcome all of the members and the friends of the congregation and the friends of the friends and anyone else who has joined us. This is an inclusive, hospitable congregation, and we're glad that you're here with us today. This morning, we're going to do what we do every week, to worship, to attend to that which is of worth, that which is most important, most worthy of our best selves, especially in this confusing, fearful, unsettling time. We've never done worship before, not quite like this. The meeting house is empty today. That sacred, history and tradition-filled sanctuary that has been a place of comfort and love on so many occasions of joy and so many times of deep grief and challenge. No one is there today for this first Sunday in what I imagine is a very, very long time. There's no question that that is a sad thing. And it's also right, since it makes it safer for so many, for all of us, for those we love, and for lots of people we will never know. So let us be glad and grateful to have this alternative, this way of being together when we're not quite together. It makes all of us feel a little less alone. So, two things I want you to do for me. One, imagine a chime. And the second is to, if you haven't done it already, to get something that you can use as your chalice. Maybe it's a candle, maybe it's something else in a circle. I saw some lovely images this morning on the Facebook page of people's chalices. So whatever it is, if you want to get it, go and get it. I'll give you a minute to do that, and then I will do a little opening reading, and then we'll light our chalices together. All of the readings that I'm going to include in the service this morning have been written in the last few days. In the last few days, as the world is waking up to a different reality. This is some gathering words written by a colleague of mine, Monica Jacobson Tennyson. She said this: "We gather today at the beginning of a time of distancing, the service of all, knowing that this change is an expression of our love, knowing that we will learn to gather at a distance. We light our chalice as a reminder. The flame is different every time, and in the times to come we will kindle separate flames, yet the flame is the same each time. And all of our separate flames remind us of this community, and our shared light." Let us speak together the words that we say every Sunday. We light this chalice flame to remind ourselves of the light of truth, the warmth of community, and the fire of commitment. So, as I've been thinking and reading and praying about what to talk about today, it seems important to say out loud that life is never going to be quite the same again. We will come to the end of this crisis. We will gather again, and we will have learned some things which will make some changes, but something real is happening, and we're living in the middle of it, and it is hard. It is hard to have the rules of life change all of a sudden. No gathering at the meeting house, no coffee hour, no basketball, no concerts, no shows, no visiting older people in assisted living, even the ones we love, no flying, no cruising, no hanging out at the bar. Please don't hang out at the bar, not even hanging out at the office for some of us. There is so much news and so many opinions about how this happened and whose fault it is and why we must find ways to all stay at home and how much that will help. Stay at home as much as we can, as much as we can stand it. There will be an end to this time, though no one knows quite when, or how bad it will be before we get there. But I think it's already clear that there will be no going back, no forgetting this. Not really. Normal has changed and will change again, and we probably won't be any more ready then than we are now. So humility is what we need. The humility to admit that we don't quite know what to do. We don't quite know what's required of us, what will help to get us through. Humility and hope. And faith in humanity and the earth despite it all. There are already glimpses of wonderfulness visible through the fearsome dark. This poem, prayer, was written by a Catholic brother, Brother Richard Hendrick. And I think I'm right that he wrote it just yesterday or the day before. He writes, "Yes, there is fear. Yes, there is isolation. Yes, there is panic buying. Yes, there is sickness. Yes, there is even death. But they say that in Wuhan, after so many years of noise, you can hear the birds again. They say that after just a few weeks of quiet, the sky is no longer thick with fumes, but blue and gray and clear. They say that in the streets of Assisi, people are singing to each other across the empty squares, keeping their windows open, so that those who are alone may hear the sounds of family around them. They say that a hotel in the west of Ireland is offering free meals and delivery to the housebound. Today, a young woman I know is busy spreading flyers with her number through the neighborhood so that the elders may have someone to call on. Today, churches, synagogues, mosques, and temples are preparing to welcome and shelter the homeless, the sick, the weary. All over the world, people are slowing down and reflecting. All over the world, people are looking at their neighbors in a new way. All over the world, people are waking up to a new reality, to how big we really are, to how little control we really have, to what really matters, to love. So we pray and we remember that yes, there is fear, but there does not have to be hate. Yes, there is isolation, but there does not have to be loneliness. Yes, there is panic buying, but there does not have to be meanness. Yes, there is sickness, but there does not have to be a disease of the soul. Yes, there is even death, but there can always be a rebirth of love. The choices you make as to how to live now. Today, breathe. Listen. Behind the factory noises of your panic, the birds are singing again. The sky is clearing, spring is coming, and we are always encompassed by love. Open the windows of your soul, and though you may not be able to touch across the empty square, sing. So we don't quite know what to do, and we need to be humble about that. But we still need to ask the question, how shall we be? Several ways, I think. First of all, something that a lot of us are doing already and that we need to do responsibly, which is to pay attention. We need to pay attention to the news, the good, reliable sources. Try not to spend too much time on the not so reliable ones, but do pay attention to the information. There is an abundance of it, and it's our job to pay attention. We need to pay attention to ourselves. We need to know how we're feeling in our bodies and also, and we need to feed our spirits as well as our minds and our bodies. We need to pay attention to one another, to the people we're in that we're too far away from to be in regular contact with. We need to remember we are in this together. So pay attention first, and then care for the world and those we love, and those that we don't know, the ones whose lives are changing faster than they have any ability to keep up with, the thousands of people who don't have a safe home in which to shelter, who don't have money for rent or food or gas or doctor's bills because they can't work or their job has disappeared when they need it most. So we can all ask ourselves, how can I help? There are ways. You might be able to help some amazing organization or group or person that is making a difference right here in this extraordinary community of Burlington where people do know how to help each other. Could you perhaps send a donation? It doesn't have to be a lot, but it could be something. Could you maybe go online and buy a gift certificate from your favorite small restaurant or small business? You won't be able to spend it right away, but you can be giving not only some money, but also the awareness that there are people who out here, who care. If there's some cause or some business that you really care about and think is important, you can promote it on your own Facebook page or Twitter or appreciate it on Front Porch Forum or write emails about it. You don't have to be silent. And you can ask yourself, who do you need to reach out to? Whose day would be better because you called or emailed or sent a real live letter to them? The kind with a stamp and a hand-addressed envelope. And finally, in terms of what we can do, I think creativity is called for from all of us. Twitter has been a wonderful source of little tidbits, including something I didn't know, that Shakespeare wrote King Lear while he was quarantined because of the plague. And apparently Isaac Newton discovered gravity also in quarantine. Most of us are not at that level, though there might be some music or some writing or some discovery that we could make. Have you seen the videos of Italian people out on their balconies singing and playing music with one another across the square? I could watch those things all day. Not only because it's wonderful to see it, but also because it's a reminder that part of my job is to be thoughtful about how I can creatively reach out across this physical distance we've created. It doesn't need to be social and personal distance. As long as we are apart, we can also be connected. We've begun to think about how to do this at First UU. And next Sunday, there will be a worship service. I'm almost certain it will be live streamed from the sanctuary, and there will be different elements. Even though you won't be there, there will be music and testimonials, and we don't know what. We're working on it to see what we... And we're also looking for, or we're helping the Chalice Circle and Theme Circle facilitators to know how they can connect their groups online. Meetings, too. We can use the technological tools that we have, and we can stay connected. And in that way, hear one another's voices. You should know, I hope you won't be surprised to know that ministers are going nuts online to try to figure out how to do this well. And right now, all over the country, in this very moment, experiments are happening, which is wonderful. And one of the, and some of them won't work that well, and we hope that everybody will be patient and will figure out and will learn a lot as we go along. One of my favorite ideas, I don't know how practical it is the idea that we could set a time in a service or another time in which on the dot of 10 or 10:30 or something, we could all hum Amazing Grace at exactly the same moment. Wouldn't that be extraordinary? Our creativity is called for because we need to reimagine church, this gathering that we do, this worship, so that it provides and provokes everything that people need to grow and learn and believe, including believing in goodness again. We can do that. And your ideas are very, very welcome. The whole staff and I really hope to hear from you. We're still on email and we're still working. Almost finally. Another thing that we need to do, that we can do, is remember that the world is still here and still needs us, as even more we need it. So, regularly set an alarm or something, turn off the television, turn off the computer, stand up, move around, go outside, open a window, sit on the porch if it's warm enough, listen for the birds. They're out there. They're coming back. And pick a tree, a particular tree that you can see or that you already know you love, and really look at it. Watch it as its life is coming back in this springtime. And know that it is the lesson that we need to hear and know and practice. And finally, what we can do, we can be kind. We can be kind. The Dalai Lama says that is really the only important element of any religion, being kind. And in this time, I think it is especially important for us to do that. And all of us can, even if we're only doing it at a distance, even if we're only doing it by email or note or call. When we go to the grocery store, we can appreciate the people who are making it possible for us to buy toilet paper when it's on the shelves or whatever else it is we need. It's only possible because they're there, and the people in the gas station. And if you know any healthcare workers, any at all, send them a love note. Appreciate them. There was in Spain last night, I think, a 6 or 7 or 8 minute ovation. Again, people coming out onto their balconies at 10 o'clock at night in Spain and just applauding for minute after minute after minute for the healthcare people who are saving lives and too often putting their own lives in jeopardy. We can be grateful and glad and kind. There is another poem as we finish that I want to read to you. You've possibly seen it, maybe heard it already. I think it's a wonderful thing that each one of us could read every day as part of our spiritual practice during this time of isolation. It was written sometime this week by a minister named Lynn Unger, who is a poet. She calls it pandemic. What if you thought of it as the Jews consider the Sabbath? the most sacred of times. Cease from travel. Cease from buying and selling. Give up, just for now, on trying to make the world different than it is. Sing. Pray. Touch only those to whom you commit your life. Center down. And when your body has become still, reach out with your heart. Know that we are connected in ways that are terrifying and beautiful. You could hardly deny it now. Know that our lives are in one another's hands. Surely that has come clear. Do not reach out your hands, reach out your heart. Reach out your words, reach out all the tendrils of compassion that move invisibly where we cannot touch. Promise this world your love, for better or for worse, in sickness and in health, so long as we all shall live. Amen. We're not going to have an offering this morning, but I have some really good news that I wanted to share with you because regardless of whatever else is happening, it is still the month in which we are asking people to make a pledge commitment for the coming year. And I just talked to Christina a few minutes ago before I got online. And she and I had the funny thought that this possibly, weirdly, could end up being one of the easiest pledge drives this congregation has ever had, because we can't be together. We can reach out, but we don't even need to wait for that invitation. We can, in fact, mail in a pledge card, and even simpler, go online. Activate, respond to that invitation to your Realm profile if you haven't already. And as soon as you've done that, go to pledging and set up your pledge. So the numbers are going up. I looked last night and there were almost $148,000 of next year's support already committed. And Christina says this morning we are well over 155 or something like that. And that's from fewer than 70 households. So you can do that. That's another thing you can do that will make a difference, as it always does. But in this case, a gesture of doing it online, happily, simply, will be a gift that you all make to each other, and an investment in the ways that you all make a difference. We're not taking up a collection, but it seems appropriate to say the offering dedication words that we say every week. Know that, with gratitude, your gifts will be dedicated in the service of our mission to inspire spiritual growth, care for each other in our community, seek truth, and act for justice. It is time now, as we get ready to say goodbye, knowing that we will say hello again soon. It is time for us to extinguish our chalice. The flame on mine has dimmed, so I'm going to make it bigger again. If you want, you can say the words with me. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts and share with the world until we are together again. Go forth, knowing that you are good, knowing that you are loved, knowing that you are a blessing and a gift to the world. Claim that gift. Practice that blessing in love. May you be peaceful and at ease. May you be whole. Amen. Blessed be. Go in peace. I'll see you soon.